Okay. And we will conduct your interview for next 20 minutes. And thanks a lot for applying for the opportunity of Walmart. This is basically a DevOps engineer 3 position for 3+ years of experience. And we are looking for a person who has good hands-on on maybe Terraform, DevOps tools, CI/CD process, and you will be primarily working for supply chain applications, right? So glad to meet you today, right? So let's start the interview. And I just wanted to understand, like, uh, what are the roles and responsibilities that you are performing in your current organization? And could you please tell me something about your team and any automations that you have performed in the recent times? You can give a overview of that also. Go ahead.
Okay, so hello, sir, and thank you for having me today. My name is Bobby Raipur, and I'm an associate DevOps engineer and 3 years of experience with a solid foundation in DevOps practices, yeah, CI/CD pipelines, automations, and a lot more. So my roles and responsibilities in my current organization varies from time to time. Like there are I have been assigned the monitoring part where I log in and check the health checks, and the dashboard that is coming from uh, Prometheus Grafana with the integration of a node exporter and a black box, where we see if there are any alerts or any incidents based on our applications. And then I have been also assigned with maintenance of CI/CD pipeline, where we review and modify the pipeline based upon the requirement and ensure that they are running smoothly. Okay, and apart from that, I have been also assigned to configure and manage all the resources that we are currently hosting on AWS cloud platform, and we ensure that they are optimized for performance and they are reliable and are secure. Like we adhere to all the security practices. And then we have also performed and modified automations that based on the repetitive task that we do on a daily basis, and we share it on a repository where it's accessible to all our team members. Okay, so recently I have automated a task for deleting the old backups, and again there is one automation for if the memory, I mean the space is around 80%, and we'll receive an email from the system. And apart from this, I've been also assigned some additional tasks, like I have to let my client know that the backup is happening for the previous month, and I have to make a report and I have to send it to him. And I also have to keep a track of incidents or any SLA breaches regarding that matter. And if any unknown error comes in, like no one is aware of that error, so I'll acknowledge it, I'll do the root cause analysis, and I'll work upon it and give the business impact it's hampering, and I'll provide a long term solution to it. And my manager has like mentioned it clearly that I have to document any unknown errors and upload it in a repository where it's accessible to all of my team members as well. So all these activities ensure that our system is secure, reliable, and is optimized for performance as well. A recent scenario I remember where the pod was stuck in crashback loop of stage. So I did my analysis, and I found out by checking the container logs, and with the help of my senior, I consulted with my senior member of the team, and I found out that the container image has to be updated. So after taking several approvals, then we updated the container image, and the pod was running fine after that. So yes, Praveen, that was all from my end.
Okay. So I asked you one more question about your team. So what is the strength of your team? How many members are there? And
There are currently around 8 members, and in my team, and there are several other teams as well, like developer team and then operations team as well.
Hmm, got it, got it. So tell me one thing. In the automation side, I can understand that you have done 4 to 5 automations. So can you tell me, like, how did you perform? Like, what was the use case of deleting the old backups, right? Where you did, and what is the space of 80% email alert, and why you have selected only email alert, right? Because most of the automations when we do, we just have like maybe Grafana, Prometheus, or any other monitoring tool. So why only email alerts you have kept for that?
Because Praveen, sometimes what happens, these alerts that they get missed sometimes on the Prometheus or Grafana as a dashboard. Okay, so but email alerts make sure that you are being, I mean, communicated that the threshold level has reached. Okay, so and we can check upon it, and then maybe if there is any old backup that is happening, so we can delete it and make some free space for future business operations, right? So that's why we have selected for an email option. And apart from that, the we have been receiving a lot of email alerts recently that a table space has reached its, I mean, around 90 or 92%. So that's why it was crucial for us to delete the old backups. I mean, you know how backups are, and they take usually a lot of space. So that was our main motive behind this
Okay, but
task.
still, I think we can do a lot much things here in the space area of 80%, but that's fine. So let's move ahead. Let's understand your architecture, current architecture and setup. You have told me initially like you have worked on CI/CD pipelines, Kubernetes, containers, performance, reliability, AWS. So can you tell me like what exactly your architecture of the project is? If I talk about CI/CD, where it is coming, if I talk about Kubernetes, so entire end to end in 1 minute, you have to explain me. Go ahead.
Okay, so based upon the requirement from the client, we'll design the pipeline in such a way that there are several stages for it, and we are currently using Jenkins for building our CI/CD pipeline. So if there is any if the code is pushed to the main GitHub, I mean on the main branch of the GitHub repository, our pipeline will trigger, and it will pull the code from the source code, and it will do several checks like vulnerability scan, again perform some quality gates test, and if the test cases passes, and then we'll build our package into a jar file, and it will will store it into the nexus for and do the release management. Okay, after that we'll build a docker image out of that jar file. Okay, and after the docker image is built, we'll scan it again to check any dependencies or any vulnerabilities or any sensitive data is it containing. Then we'll deploy that image onto our Kubernetes cluster. Okay. And after it's deployed, we'll monitor it for the rest of the part. So that is our
Understood.
typical pipeline which we are currently following. I can explain it in detail.
But that's fine. That's fine. So can you tell me like in this entire pipeline setup, what is your task? Let's say, are you writing Groovy files? Are you integrating? Or it's just like pipeline has already been there. You are just updating some few values and just onboarding the project. And you have mentioned like jar. So your pipelines are only working for Java application or any other
Yes, no.
application?
Currently, our customer is having only Java applications, so that's why only Java applications. And my role in maintaining this, I only maintain it, right? I only review it and update it because, I mean, based upon the requirement. But
Okay.
I have written, I mean, a pipeline from scratch in the dev environment, not in production, dev and
Okay.
quality.
Okay. So can you tell me like what are the stages that you are having? Let's say I took out a version from the dev pipeline. So how are you promoting it to the production till production?
So based upon our test cases, I mean, if it's passing in the dev environment, then we'll push it to quality, right? So if it's, I mean, if it's working fine, and there are like vigorous testing is also there. So based upon that, we'll push it to final production after confirmations and approvals. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
getting what exactly term are you looking for, but
Okay, but
they mentioned
okay,
something else.
let me reframe it. So what I'm expecting is, let's say in dev branch we got a version. Let's say in dev pipeline we got a version 10.11. Okay, a jar file we have got. Now I have to move this particular data or the code or the jar, right? Whatever the version is, till production. So let's say dev is completed. Now QA will come. QA is completed. Now stage will come. Stage is completed. Production. So how are you taking that code until production? So can you explain that process?
Uh, yeah, give me a minute to think. I mean,
Mm.
I cannot recall it right now, but
Okay,
I'll get
no
back to
issue.
you.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. So tell me one thing. You told like designed and implemented CI/CD pipelines using Jenkins, reducing the code deployment time by 30%. So can you please explain like what exactly you mean by code deployment time and how that 30% of the things have been achieved? What automation or any ideas you have given for this particular task?
Yes, Praveen. So earlier I mean, before the deployment, the time was around. I mean, the time was more. So that's why I have like initiated this with my senior team member. I consulted him, and we designed a pipeline in like if there are any automations. Like I'll give you an example where I have asked to I mean store the container image into the GitHub repository. I mean, sorry, Docker image into the Docker Hub repository, and from there on we like reduced our code deployment time. So that's why the 30% actually came from there, and we have
Okay.
calculated the time based upon like how much time is it taking to build the entire pipeline, and how much time is it taking to deploy the code, right from the
Okay.
integration part till deployment part.
Okay, makes sense. Let's move ahead a little bit on the cloud side, Terraform and Ansible. So can you tell me like how exactly in your project the Terraform, Ansible, and AWS were coming into picture, and what were the services that you guys are using? And based on this, we will go with the hands-on part later. Whatever you tell here, I'll be framing a hands-on question from this particular answer, whatever you are giving to me. Go ahead.
Okay. We are currently using AWS Cloud for various resources like EC2 instances, EBS, RDS, and EKS cluster as well. So for configuration of those resources, we use Ansible as a configuration management tool. But for creating those resources, we are currently using Terraform. So Terraform will automate all those. I mean, instead of manually doing, I mean, if you want to, for example, if you want to create an EC2 instance, we have to manual instead of going for the manual procedure, we use Terraform to automate this process and to manage it and to configure it based upon our requirement and for process. I mean, performance optimization, we use Ansible for that.
Okay, okay. So can you tell me like how this Terraform is getting triggered? Are you triggering via Jenkins? Because in CI/CD you mentioned that Terraform, Ansible are not there. So how are you using these two tools?
uh, mm, Directly from the server. I mean, on Ansible we have a master control node and then several master nodes. So
Okay.
we'll use that. I mean, we use that architecture for Ansible.
Okay, no issues. Makes sense. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Let's understand some of the important things. So you mentioned like you have worked with Docker, you have worked with Kubernetes. So can you tell me like what exactly the architecture of the Kubernetes you guys are following? Is your team maintaining the Kubernetes architecture or some other team? How the deployment is happening from the Jenkins to the Kubernetes? Uh, can you tell a little bit on the Kubernetes side of tasks that you are handling?
Uh, Kubernetes, no, I mean the cluster was already created before before I joined
Okay.
the organization.
Okay.
So not that part, but yes, some of the part is there where I have to monitor the pods, and like I've told you, there was incident that the pod was stuck in crashback loop of stage. So
Okay.
not that much part, but yes,
Okay. So how are you deploying your applications onto Kubernetes?
uh, I'm not aware of it, Praveen, right
Oh,
now.
no issues. Okay. So let's go into the code part. In the sense, I'll start. Okay. Then we will move to the Kubernetes basic Kubernetes question, and then we'll go with the Python basic, very basic. Okay. You can share your screen. If you have a Visual Studio code, that should be fine for me. If you don't have that, open a text file. That is also fine for you.
Okay.
You have the screen share access, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, you
Praveen.
can share your screen.
Please let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, sure. Go ahead. Okay, great. You can open the text file, right? Anything, new file or something. Okay, good. Okay, so I will give you a scenario basically with a Docker. Okay, so understand that I need to have a Apache HTTPD. Okay, running
Okay.
inside a Docker container on port 8081. Okay, and
Okay.
this is the
Yes.
first question. Okay, let me put it down like this. Okay, Docker container with HTTPD, right? Running on port 80. This is the first. Second, you have
Can I
to
note it down? I mean,
update.
if it's possible.
Yeah, I'm giving you a question directly. Okay. So this is the question I'm going to give you. Okay. You need to write a Docker file with HTTPD Apache running on port 80. Once that is done, you have to also copy a file from your local or wherever it is to a particular location of the configuration file of HTTPD and replace that. Very basic Docker file scenario I have given. If you are able to solve it, we will go to the next step of Docker.
Okay, sure, Praveen.
You are clear with the question, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay, very basic question. Let's start. Go ahead.
yes. So for my base image, I'm using Ubuntu.
Okay.
HTTPD, right?
Yes.
CMD. Uh, Praveen, I mean, after installing it, I have to, push the file to the.
Correct. Configuration folder, any folder.
Okay, 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 sure.
You need a hint here in the CMD
Mm,
what you have to do.
no, no, no. I'll
You,
I'll ask you if I need a hint.
oh, sure.
Okay. So, Praveen, I cannot remember the exact file where
No, that's
I need
fine. I don't
location.
want
Yes.
you to write the exact code also. You just write anything. ABC also is fine. Yeah, that is also. Yeah, anything is fine. Folder, everything I don't want. I just want the flow that you are following. So what are you
Mm,
doing in the CMD step?
uh, I'll be starting the Apache 2 service
Okay.
in, I mean, see, if I run the container based upon this image, right? So for starting in the foreground, like it will be in exited state if I don't use foreground. So that's
Okay.
why I'm starting it in foreground.
Okay.
Which port number was that?
8081.
HTML. No.
So why are you using add?
Uh, so for add, I mean add will do like uh, so I'll explain in a bit.
Okay, okay, write it, write it.
Present location to HTML. So Praveen,
Yeah.
what it will do, like it will copy this tar ball to this
Mm-hmm.
location, but
Mm-hmm.
but it'll also unpack this.
Okay.
So I could have used copy command, but
Mm-hmm.
copy command will only copy this to the uh, location.
Okay.
So that's why I've written
Okay.
add.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
And what was the other requirement?
Other requirement was the file is updated, right? Now I think the second requirement you have written. So after the file is updated, what you have to do?
After the file is updated,
Apache should read that file, right? Again, new file. So what you have to do?
uh, mm,
You have to restart
yes,
Apache, right? Restart Apache, right? So what is that
yes.
you will use it here?
A CMD again. Let's see.
Your wish, anything, whatever you feel it's correct, you can use it.
But I guess it will reflect in the destination, and Apache will read it.
Reflect in the destination, but Apache should read, right? Apache will not read the new configuration because you have already started at line number 5.
Yes.
So you have to restart Apache again. So what command you will use? What?
Again CMD I'll be use. I
Okay.
guess
Huh.
I'm not sure.
Okay, use it. Use it. Go ahead. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Okay. Now, I understood that you have taken the base image as Ubuntu, you have added labels, you have installed Apache 2, you have started in the foreground, exposed it on port 80, you have selected the work directory configuration file directory and added the configuration file to the folder. And finally, you are restarting it. Okay, this looks good to me. Now, let's move ahead a little bit ahead to the story. Now, as you are having the Apache file, okay, Apache server. Now you should
Mhm.
be aware that Apache is basically for routing the traffic to the backend application. Correct. Now, we will have one backend application, open a new file and write a Kubernetes file for me where you are installing the Java jar as a container. Okay. And basically, this Ubuntu container, whatever we have with the Apache HTTP, that also we can later convert into the pod. But as of now, the scenario is write a Kubernetes manifest file for having the Java application with version 1.1. Okay, I'm giving you the scenario. Kubernetes manifest file with Java app or Java image with version 1.1, right? And it should expose on port 81 and it should have replica as free. Along with that, it should also have the canary option enabled to it. Okay, so this is the next scenario where we are going to think about how you are going to design a manifest file for Java application with version 1.1, where it should expose on port 81 and it should have a replica count as 3. And it should also have the deployment pattern of canary. Okay, so go ahead. Wherever you are stuck, you just let me know. I will help you. Go ahead.
I don't have that much hands-on for manifest
Oh,
files. I mean,
okay,
for
you don't. Okay, that's completely fine. Okay, let's move to the Python now. Okay, Python, you are, how much do you rate yourself, like out of 10?
five, around five.
5. Okay. Let's start with a very basic code. Whatever the container you have created right now, right? Apache container. Okay. Write
Mhm.
a Python code to read that container data, go inside the container and remove the configuration file that you have added now. Okay. Write a Python code which goes into the container which you have created in the previous page and it should remove that file that you have added now. Go ahead.
Can I refer some files?
Yes, yes. Please, you can refer internet, you can refer Google, anything. If you have anything to refer, I'm very much happy. You can go ahead. No issues. I just need the idea because it's a loop. If you understand, we started with Docker, deployed the image, then I gave you the second
Yes.
scenario, a loop. Again, I'm giving you a third scenario from that loop. I'm trying to understand how better you can visualize the scenario and come up with a solution for me. Go ahead. You can do everything in the screen itself. Like if you're opening the Google Chrome also, because everyone can see, right? See, what are you typing? What are the search words, keywords you are using? Because I can see only the Visual Studio as of now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just take out the code for me from the internet. What prompt you are using to get the code? Just show me that. We will be good. Okay, we will be good with the internet. Show me that. You understood the scenario, right? I can paste the
Yes.
scenario for you. You are typing somewhere this prompt, or where are you typing?
Yes, is my screen not visible?
Not visible. It's still in Visual Studio. I think you have to share entire screen. Then,
Oh, okay.
yeah, another 5 minutes. You can take your time. We will wind up. I just wanted to understand what prompt you are giving so that everyone can understand if they are given a chance to do the Google in the interview, how they can find the answer. That's it. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. Now it's visible. Go ahead.
Uh, Docker file. And what was your other task? I mean, there are two tasks,
Draft a
right?
Python code for deleting the current configuration in Docker file. That's it. I think you have put in one prompt itself. Remove the end and hit. Yeah. Okay, what it is showing, just see. So see what prompt you have given, what it is giving. You have given that prompt only. Now, what are you telling? Write a Python
Uh,
code to read
for
the Docker
deleting
file.
current configuration in Docker file.
Means it
But
is giving you the code to read the Docker file. So
okay, but
our
it's
task
not
was
going inside.
inside the container. Correct. So you have to update your prompt. You have to update your prompt or else copy this, write the Python code to read the container data of the Docker. Something like this you can put it. Yes. Yes. Inside the Docker file, no. Inside Docker. That's it. Don't put file because again it will give you the file data. Draft a Python code for reading the container data inside Docker. Yes. And then delete the current configuration in the Docker container. Yeah, let's see. Okay, just hit up. Yes. Now go to the top, what it is telling. Okay, you have created imported Docker, define the list of containers. You have created a client for the Docker, and you are calling all the list of the containers in the line number 5. And you are
Hmm.
looping on each container. Okay, so basically it is giving you the loop of each container. And next step is you are deleting the container, where whatever the container ID you are passing. Okay, delete the current configuration. Okay, it's deleting the entire container. Okay, so in the step 2, if you are saying you are deleting the entire container, to delete the container, yeah, you
Yes.
are stopping it, removing it. The first 7 lines is good. Okay, but here the code should be changed. Okay, my task was whatever the container ID or whatever the container ID we created with the name Apache or label. Okay, so point number
Hmm.
7, you have to filter out that container 6 and 7. You will get
Yes.
one container. In the next stage, in the point number 9, you have to go inside the container, write the code in such a way that go inside the container, go to the folder and remove that file. You got it right?
Yes. Yes.
But you
So
understood?
whatever file I have pushed, I mean whatever file I have copied inside the container, I have
Yes,
to delete those files,
exactly.
not delete the entire
Not
container.
delete the container. Yes. So I
Hmm.
think it just misunderstood, right? Whatever we have written. But that's fine. You understood the scenario and the logic.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, good, good. Okay. So now time is 58. We will stop the interview.
Yes.
You can stop the screen share. I will share now what is feedback. Okay. Stop my screen. Okay. Bobby, I enjoyed taking your interview. Let me start with whatever you have told. Okay. So all of you don't type anything. I will give you open chat access. You decide later. Okay. I'll ask you the feedback also. Now, let's start with the interview process of Bobby. Okay. I asked him what are the things that he has worked, his roles and responsibilities. So he started with dashboards, Prometheus, Grafana, CI/CD pipelines, incident management, alerts, monitoring, modifying the pipeline, performance, reliability, repository management, delete. And then you need to understand, I asked 3 questions at once. which means that any person who is present in the interview, he should be knowing that, okay, first question was this, second question was this, third question was this. Now, Bobby missed the one question which I asked about his teammates. Correct? Do you remember, everyone? So I
Yes.
then asked him the question, Bobby, I asked you one question like, what is your team strength? Right? Yes. Now, if you see, every answer what Bobby was giving was not complete. Let's say I asked him CI/CD pipeline, it was not complete. I asked him Kubernetes, it was not complete. It was like something was missing at the end, which I can clearly figure out either he has not worked or he's trying to learn somewhere and attach the things. When I talk about CI/CD, it should be very strong how we have done in the batch 10. You start with the GitHub, very confidently you have to tell that you have done all the things. Like Groovy file you have written. So if you have not done in the current project, that's fine. You have done in the batch 10, right? At least you know like how the Groovy file is written, how the code is taken,
Mhm.
how the Maven is done, how the JFrog, and how it is deployed in Kubernetes. Everything you know. So you can tell that story. Clear, everyone? Now, if you see, everywhere I found this somewhere the answer were half, half. The first part of the interview for the first 15 minutes, I found in every answer there was half, half answer. But I would definitely select Bobby for the next 15 minutes, what he has done. I'm very much happy. I gave him the Docker file scenario. He wrote the Docker file scenario, what I expected. Then I asked him the Kubernetes file. Bobby, you have to prepare Kubernetes. If you are not doing at least
Yes.
basics of the file, the scenario 2 was very easy. You have to take the Java image, you have to write a deployment basically, kind deployment, because I have asked for replica as count 3, right? Very
Mhm.
simple.
Yes.
Prepare that, no issues. Okay. Now, Kubernetes, you need to be very strong. Prepare from our classes. Complete the scenarios which I have shared as assignment. That will help you to solve this question. Now, I asked you again Python code. It's fine. You are able to not write it on your own, but you have used ChatGPT. But remember one thing, I didn't ask you to use ChatGPT. I asked you to do Google. Okay. So you have to take the permission from the interviewer if you are using the ChatGPT.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Because ChatGPT gives the direct answer, which no one wants. I want your ability to find out the answer from Google prompts, not from ChatGPT prompt. Make sense?
Yes. Yes. Sure, Praveen.
Okay.
I'll
So
keep
out
it up.
of 10, if I have to move to next round, round number 2, it's a yes for me. Okay. So for a 3 years experience, whatever you have done, whatever you are knowing, it's okay for me. And definitely once you join the team, maybe you can complete the tasks by finding out the solutions for that. I know you have done good work in your current organization. Now let's take the feedback from the class. Guys, I know that it's a 50-50 chance, but I'm going to move him to the next round. What